When one thinks about the saints of the Church, the ones that often come to mind are those that lived many centuries ago. But two great heroes of the faith lived among us in modern times and may very well become recognized as saints themselves. In October 2003, Mother Teresa of Calcutta, now known as Blessed Teresa, was beatified by Pope John Paul II. And shortly after his death in April 2005, the beatification process, the first step toward becoming a recognized saint of the Church, began for John Paul II as well. So it seems fitting to take a moment to think about the awesome example set by John Paul and Blessed Teresa and to ponder some of their thoughts.
Most people know at least a little about the story of Mother Teresa, in particular how she cared for the poorest of the poor in Calcutta, India. Originally from Albania, she was 18 years old when she joined a convent. She could have led a quiet, peaceful life there, but felt strongly called to leave the convent and to live and work with the poor of India. In 1950, she founded the Missionaries of Charity to love and serve the poor, seeing Jesus in them. Mother Teresa was bestowed many honors in her life, including the Nobel Peace Prize in 1979.
John Paul II was born in Poland 84 years ago. Lolek, as he was known as a boy, was an outstanding student and loved sports, playing soccer, swimming, and skiing. As a young man, he became interested in the theater and performed and even wrote many plays. John Paul studied to become a priest under the threat of the concentration camps of Nazi Germany. Later, as a cardinal and then as pope, John Paul became known for his intelligence, speaking 8 languages, a special devotion to the Blessed Mother, for being an outspoken defender of life, and for his love of young people, aptly illustrated by his establishment of World Youth Day gatherings. As the most widely traveled pope in history, John Paul unceasingly amplified Christ's message, and in doing so, has had a profound effect on our world.
With these hands, I'll build your earthly kingdom to the glory of your Son. And with this voice, I'll shout your love and mercy. Lord, your will be done. Lord, your will be done.
Here is a small sampling of some of the wisdom of Blessed Teresa and our Holy Father.
Holiness does not consist in doing extraordinary things. It consists in accepting with a smile what Jesus sends us. Holiness is not the luxury of a few. It is everyone's duty, yours and mine.
Prayer is always an opus gloriae, a work of glory. Man achieves the fullness of prayer not when he expresses himself, but when he lets God be most fully present in prayer.
My secret is a very simple one. I pray. To pray to Christ is to love Him. There are people who, in order not to pray, use as an excuse the fact that life is so hectic that it prevents them from praying. This cannot be. Prayer does not demand that we interrupt our work, but that we continue working as if it were a prayer.
The very day of the inauguration of my papal ministry, I said to the young people gathered in St. Peter's Square, "You are the hope of the Church and of the world. You are my hope."
The first person in the world to welcome Jesus, to recognize Him in the womb of His own mother, was a child, John the Baptist. It is wonderful. God chooses an unborn child to announce the coming of His redeeming Son.
Following Christ is following peace. Peace in accepting the message of His love. Peace in accepting His Spirit. Peace in living His grace, in intimacy with Him, through the sacraments and above all, the Eucharist.
Peace and war begin at home. If we truly want peace in the world, let us begin by loving one another in our own families.
Totus tuus, I am completely yours, O Mary, has been my motto. At first it had seemed to me that I should distance myself a bit from the Marian devotion of my childhood in order to focus more on Christ. I came to understand that true devotion to the Mother of God is actually Christ-centric. Indeed, it is very profoundly rooted in the mystery of the Blessed Trinity and the mysteries of the Incarnation and Redemption.
Open your hearts to the love God instills in them. God loves you tenderly. What He gives you is not to be kept under lock and key, but to be shared.
With these hands, I'll build your earthly kingdom to the glory of your Son. And with this voice, I'll shout your love and mercy. Lord, your will be done. Lord, your will be done.
To me, Jesus is the life I want to live, the light I want to reflect, the way to the Father, the love I want to express, the joy I want to share, the peace I want to sow around me. Jesus is everything to me.
Christ walks alongside each person as a friend. An important day in a young person's life is the day on which he becomes convinced that this is the only friend who will not disappoint him, on whom he can always count.
Jesus comes to meet us. To welcome Him, let us go meet Him. He comes to us in the hungry, the lonely, the alcoholic, the drug addicted, the street beggars. He may come to you or me in a father who is alone, in a mother, in a brother, or in a sister. If we reject them, if we do not go out to meet them, we reject Jesus Himself.
At the end of the second millennium, we need, perhaps more than ever, the words of the risen Christ. Be not afraid. Peoples and nations of the entire world need to hear these words. Their conscience needs to grow in the certainty that someone exists who holds in His hands the destiny of this passing world. And this someone is love. Love that became man, love crucified and risen, love unceasingly present among men.
One day, I went to visit a lady who had terminal cancer. Her pain was tremendous. I told her, "This is nothing but Jesus' kiss, a sign that you are so close to Him on the cross that He can kiss you." She joined her hands and said, "Mother, ask Jesus not to stop kissing me."
Suffering, in fact, is always a great test not only of physical strength, but also of spiritual strength. It is a cry for the victory of good, even through evil, through suffering, through every wrong and human injustice.
The fact of death should not sadden us. The only thing that should sadden us is to know that we are not saints. The saints are all the people who live according to the law God has given us.
In Mother Teresa's smile, words, and deeds, Jesus again walked the streets of the world as the Good Samaritan, and He continues to do so in the Missionaries of Charity. Let us not forget the great example left by Mother Teresa, and let us not commemorate it in words alone. Let us always have the courage to give priority to the human person and his fundamental rights.
With these